Well, welcome to another episode of Perfectly Twisted with my friend Dave here and myself, Nicole. I have to put out a little pre-warning here, okay? With chemotherapy becomes a lot of forgetfulness, okay? Last night, I forgot to take my meds. I forgot to take my olanzapine. I believe that's how you say it, which is an anti-schizophrenic.
Oh, really? Is that
And
right? Is that a side effect, schizophrenia?
Well, it's so that, they have to control all things. Like you take a lot of steroids to help
Yeah.
your other organs not panic and freak out from the chemo. So they have to give you stuff for your brain too.
Oh, wow. Never
So
knew
yeah.
that.
Yeah, so I forgot to take it. So if I start getting a little crazy, call
Wow.
911. Um,
When did you realize you forgot? When you woke up, or one of the other personalities told you, or
yeah.
did you wake up and realize there's an extra pill there, or what?
Yeah, I was taking my morning supplements and my morning meds, and I was like, oh. And I have to read
Damn.
it every single time because my brain really is working that slowly. And I was like, take it night. Oh, this one was supposed to be last night. And so anyway,
Oh no.
yeah, good old schizophrenia. Let's hope that doesn't pop out.
Let's hope that one doesn't
Although it could
kick
make for a great episode, you know.
in. That would be something else. We wouldn't need a guest.
I know. I could be all three. But I did, what I did want to say really quickly is I wanted to say we lost a good friend, Seth Binzer, aka Shifty, on Tuesday, and I really loved him dearly, and I've known him for so long, and I'm so happy we had him on this show because we got to see him in a positive light. So if you missed that episode, please go check it out. Such a sweet soul that just, the demons won. And I just wanted to give him some love, and it's sad. He'll be missed.
100%. And when I saw you post first, I saw it first through your Facebook, and then obviously it started coming out on the news. ABC News in LA started putting stuff out, and I didn't contact you right away. I actually contacted Josh, who edits our show, and I didn't know what to say to you. I just said, Josh, look at this, and he wrote to you first and said how sorry I was, and that's kind of like we felt like our hands were tied. We feel so bad for you and anyone that knew him and anyone who's ever lost someone in that situation where it's not just one person fighting the fight. The whole family, anyone who loved that person is fighting the fight with them.
That's
and
right.
So my heart goes out to you and his family and friends as well. It's really sad.
Yeah, he had a lot of people surrounding him. It's, obviously a family that he left behind, kids, sisters, mother. It's really hard. It's really hard, but I just hope he's at peace and not feeling that pain anymore. And yes, he would be very missed. So just wanted to bring that up. But while we're sitting here, please hit that like button, and you're going to be especially happy that you hit it after you listen to our guest that's coming on. I mean, okay, if I were to talk about her resume, it would take up the whole show. She's a veteran actor. She's a writer, producer. She's a huge activist. I mean, beyond. She also has a podcast. She's a registered EMT, for God's sakes. She's a triathlete. I mean, and she will be appearing in the upcoming documentary, of course, of Baywatch.
Oh, cool.
I'm exhausted just thinking about all the things she does.
I feel like an underachiever right now.
I am such an underachiever. It's kind of ridiculous. But you can check out her website, alexandrapaul.com. You can read all about everything she's doing, all the fantastic work she does. So let's bring on that beautiful lady.
Oh, thank you so much, Nicole. That's so sweet. And Dave, so nice to meet you. I am a fan of the show. As you said, I'm a subscriber, so it's a real honor to be on.
Oh, that is great. That is great. Very nice to meet you as well today. I'm with Nicole. I did a bunch of research on you, and I was like, oh, man, I haven't done a lot with my life. Like I thought I was doing pretty good. No,
it's because I'm older. I'm 60 now, so
Nicole and I are right behind you.
Yeah, I guarantee you in that little bit of age gap, I won't get even a quarter of this done.
I also don't have children.
Well, I wanted to talk to you about that because I find that it's a very That's a great topic because I was reading that she's a TED Talk and does a lot of speaking on the overpopulation crisis. And Alexandra herself decided to not have children, correct? Was that?
Yeah,
And
I am child free by choice. I've been married to my amazing husband Ian we've been together for almost 29 years now, and we both decided to not have children. I knew since I was a kid, because I grew up in the 70s where I saw all the starving children, the ads about the starving children, and I thought to myself, well, wait, if there's not enough food and resources for everybody, maybe we shouldn't have so many children. And I decided that I wasn't going to have a child when I was 9. And my mother said, don't make decisions like that when you're that young. You'll change your mind. And I waited for my biological clock to kick in, and it never did. So it wasn't that and I'm not against having children, of course. I think it's wonderful. It's just that I want people to know that you can be child free and have a very fulfilling life, or you can have one child and have a very fulfilling life, or two. So we don't have to, especially as women, don't have to look at ourselves just as one thing. We can be mothers and career people or volunteers, etc., or we can choose not to be mothers.
well, it's interesting because I'm hearing a lot of it's the generations, the younger generations now talking about not having children, and
Yes.
it seems that it's kind of a trending thing. My daughter, she's 26, and as of this point right now, she has no plans. By now, I'd already had her. She has no
Right.
plans for children, and
Right.
she's been with her partner for a number of years, and I guess he feels the same way. And they're definitely not alone in that. And and when I was reading everything you did, I was like, yeah, it's not having kids can really free up your life. It
Yeah,
really
it
can.
does.
I was having a conversation with my friend who I won't name her the other day, and she's a great mother too, but she was saying if she could do it all over again, she wouldn't have children. I don't feel that way. I feel like they're my best friends and they taught me love. Her, she was like, would never, never, never have done it.
They're different, and there's no right or wrong about it. I think for me, as an environmentalist, I grew up as an environmentalist. And when I was born in 63, there were 3 billion people on the planet, and there are now 8 billion. So when I speak in schools and universities, and I have a TED Talk about population, I just ask people to look at the positive side of having smaller families, because as human beings, every species has to procreate to continue. So the human species has been propagating a message that we must procreate, that to be a valuable, especially as a woman, you have to procreate. And I want to share with people that now we should be choosing to have the number of children we want. And most people do want smaller families, especially women, because the women do a lot of the raising of children. So it's just about choice and being able to choose, because we have a very pro-natalist culture, human culture. Probably animal culture too is a pro-natalist, because that's what keeps species going. But now we've been so successful at procreating that we actually need to kind of look at this old value about always having babies is good, because maybe we need to slow down our fertility because of the resources on the planet, and climate change are changing reality for us.
That's so on point. And ironically, they're trying to take our birth control away from us.
Yeah.
And, they're trying to take all those choices away from us. It's the irony is not lost.
Alexandra, as you were speaking, I'm sorry, it made me laugh because I have an aunt. Everybody has that aunt that you talk about. But whenever growing up my entire life, anytime she saw a mother with more than 2 kids, what are they, animals? She would just yell that out like. I thought that was one of the craziest responses, but now that you were speaking, she would always scream that out for my entire life. We could be, at Vaughn's. What are they, animals? just an understanding. 3 kids was you're an animal for having more than 2. Yeah, she'd lose her mind every time.
Well, I have 2 siblings, so I love them. I'm so glad, but there are advantages to having the, small families, large families. It's just about people choosing rather than blindly thinking that they have to have children. I think that is what I, as a populationist, feel like people should have the choice, especially women. In a lot of countries, women don't have the choice whether or not to have children. And that's why it's important that we give people the choice. To your point, Nicole, allow birth control and IVF and the choice to have an abortion.
Absolutely. Yeah, it's wild. And I think that it's like, especially in this country specifically, obviously, they throw you into debt right when you get out of school too, right? Like it's the whole thing of like you have to finish high school, then you have to go to college, and you're just always in debt. And these younger people are like, whoa. So I see a lot of them going, well, if I'm going to have this much debt, having children seems impossible. Buying a home seems impossible. And then you have the other people like my daughter, and a lot of people are choosing, and they're doing quite well by not going to college and not having that debt and just going in the workforce and proving themselves and, getting it done. And then also on top of that, still choosing that they don't know what the hell is going on in this world, and everything is so expensive, and the overpopulation and just the environment, what's happening to it in general. And they're just, having kids doesn't look so peachy to them.
I heard you talk about actually your daughter and her partner choosing not to, because I listened to the show, choose, and that they have a wonderful life and they're very happy. And that's wonderful that they're really, one of the things, especially with hetero couples, and my identical twin sister is gay. So I saw this, is that when I would get into relationships with boys, there was always, we just sort of fell into it. And then it was one of the reasons I was afraid of getting married, is because I was afraid I would lose my career, that their career would become first. And if we had babies, I'd be the one shouldering most of the responsibility. And when you are homosexual back in the day in the 80s and 90s, when you had a relationship and when you became long-term partners, there wasn't that expectation of, okay, we're going to be monogamous. We're never going to really talk about it, but it's just understood that we're going to be monogamous. It's kind of understood that the woman is going to do this, this, and this. And having a gay sister and seeing her craft her relationships and decide, because there were no cultural rules for them, was really educational. And it made me, maybe it's the reason my husband and I have, we have a pretty conventional relationship, but that I guess I'm a pretty conventional person. So we crafted it that way, but I always was very aware of like, okay, we need to choose our roles and not just fall into it.
I love that. Yeah, I think that's why I have always been afraid of marriage also, is because that's a commitment. And if it doesn't pan out, if it's not like what you said, created, like you didn't, create something in the situation, you're stuck. You're stuck. And that sounds miserable to me. And it's just, and I think people change. They'll say one thing, and then you make that commitment, and then they can switch on you, and it just all seems very scary. And and
Dave, I want to. I don't want to be a man basher, but I did hear this stat last week that was like,
yes.
Oh my gosh, is that when a woman gets into a relationship with a man, she adds 7 more hours of work to her week, not even dealing with the kids. Yeah. And a man gets 1 hour taken away. So it just shows that women in relationships do so much of the work. And I think I was really afraid of that. My parents, my parents were divorced when I was 16. And then my mom sort of had this new life after that. And so I think I also saw that, and it made me really want to be more intentional. And then having a twin sister who had to be more intentional with relationships, because her relationships back in the 80s and 90s were pretty much banned. So, frowned upon. So tell me what you think as a man about all this.
I'll be honest with you. I'm one of these people that believe women could have anything they want. Like they could control the world, and I believe they're smarter than us. When I vote for women because they pay attention to detail. I'm around guys all the time. I've been in the sports business, before, Nicole and I are doing this, but sports broadcasting and around athletes and people with a lot of money, and it doesn't matter whether they have a little bit of money or a lot of money. Guys just like to get through things really fast and move on to what they really want to do. So when something as important as making laws and things like that go through, I want a person that's going to pay attention to detail, not a person that's going to say, I got to just sit there and sign this and move on so I can play golf with my buddies or go drinking with my friends. So I literally had this conversation with a good friend of mine 2 nights ago, and we both said the same thing. Women can have anything they want. The biggest problem that we see is women become the biggest enemy of other women. And they kind of get in each other's way for basically not achieving, to me, almost anything they could want to basically run the world. The guys aren't very smart. We're pretty simple. We're pretty dumb. But it seems like women seem to and what I notice about women, just my thoughts, if there's a really attractive woman in a room, I will say, let's say the gym, and another attractive woman comes in that gym, one of them will leave. Both of them won't stay at the same time. There can only be one queen bee. And it's
Really?
always strange how I always think women dress for other women. Men don't pay attention to what women wear. They pay attention to how they look, but they don't pay attention to clothes. But it always seems like women are always trying to impress other women and spend a ton of money and time trying to impress each other. Now, as a guy like me, I got engaged at 19. I've been married for almost 33 years. So for me, when I got into my marriage, I was like, this is a team. And it's 50-50. I mean, straight through, and stuff around the house or making money or whatever it is with the kids. It was always a team. We approached everything as a team. And without that, it wasn't going to work. And that's kind of how I approached it. But it's worked out for me that way. But it's yeah, be honest with you, going back to what you said at the very beginning, Alexandra, I have a bunch of my friends doing exactly what you and your husband did. They've decided not to have kids. And really surprising to me growing up with these guys since I was 5 years old, that they have on purpose decided not to have children, and I haven't regretted 1 minute of it.
Yeah. Yeah. I want to push back a little bit about the beautiful woman thing, because I agree with you that, I mean, I think I'm more concerned about what Nicole thinks of me than you, because I know that men are more forgiving in a way. Well, also because Nicole's my old friend and I, I know her, but I always think of men being more forgiving of women because you just want to be able to fuck us.
Yeah, I agree.
And then if that's so,
I agree.
Right,
I don't disagree with that at all. I think every guy thinks that way.
yeah.
But I always come across a lot of like critical guys, but I'm friends with a lot of guys that are like very much into vanity. But then I started watching this show. I don't know if you guys have seen it. It's kind of hard to watch. It's called MILF Manor. And it's where it's like older women and these young guys, but they're young guys. They're like my kids' age. And I'm just like cringing that these women are even attracted to these gorgeous boys. And I'm then on the other hand going, and these boys are attracted to these women who are definitely of a certain age. They look their age too. And so I sit there and I go, yeah, guys just want to have sex. Guys,
Yeah,
they really are. But I feel like at my age, I just have really grown to appreciate beauty in other women. And I'm so happy for people who are young and look precious and or just like look flawless all the time, and or just have their youth and have all of that. I think it's so I don't want to go back to it, but I'm so happy for them, and I don't know. I've just really grown to really appreciate other women and their beauty, people in general and their beauty. It's funny to me that the older I've gotten, the more people look beautiful to me.
Yeah.
Like I don't judge. I'm not picky. There's
too.
way more to me. There's more beautiful people than not. And I never.
Well, you're more confident, aren't you, in yourself now that you're older?
Yes, 100%. And that's why people say, like, would you go back? No. And I was having a conversation the other day about how it kind of sucks that as life gets older, like as you get older, everything gets harder, right? Just the illness, deaths, just all the problems that come along with like aging. And then I was thinking, but for young people, I just wish we were saying I wish that it was harder early in life and it got easier. But then after I thought about it, I was like, no, I just wish that the youth would appreciate that it doesn't last forever. Right? If they really could understand that life goes like that. And if they could just appreciate it, have a deep appreciation for it, that would make perfect in my eyes.
Yeah.
Well, when I came, you were talking a few episodes ago about competition among the Baywatch girls and the stuff like that, which I never felt on the show. I really like women. I have a lot of female friends. I just really like women. And they're like the sisterhood, right? All women to me. I didn't feel that competition when we were on the show, Nicole. But one of the reasons is that, I had an eating disorder that was really bad from 16 to 28. I was anorexic and then bulimic. And
Oh.
I got over that eating disorder a year before I was offered Baywatch. Because if I was offered Baywatch during that eating disorder, I never would have accepted it because I would have known that I would have been crazy, throwing up, God knows. So I was just so grateful that I didn't have an eating disorder. My weight stabilized. It was like I was just so full of gratitude that the looks thing wasn't as important to me. I mean, of course I wanted to look good in the bathing suit and everything, but I really felt so much better about myself that I don't know. I just didn't think about compare with other women.
Well, that's, Alex, that's huge. That could have gone either way. Were you worried that taking this on was going to trigger that eating disorder? Because that could
Yes, I
have,
think
right? I
I
mean, that really,
was. Yeah,
that's
I
so
think I
brave of
was,
you.
but I was a year in. I mean, I can't exactly remember, but I know that I definitely wouldn't have said yes to the show if I was still bulimic. But what happened was that I was in therapy from age 16 to 28, but it was when I went to Overeaters Anonymous, which is the 12-step equivalent of AA, that I stopped. Within a month, I started doing the 12 steps and I stopped throwing up. And I had a boyfriend also who was very secure and very supportive and very quiet. He was an architect. He wasn't in the business, Nicole. I don't even know if he ever came to the set. He maybe came once. His name was Andrew, and I'd gone to high school with him. And I just my life was very calm. And so I felt stronger and able to do the show. Yeah.
Wow, that takes a lot of courage. That's amazing. I'm
It is
so
amazing.
glad.
Thank you. I never thought of it as like, I never even, when you asked that question about, were you afraid about going back to, would it trigger something? I haven't been asked that. It's such a good question.
It's such an extreme to sit there and say, not only am I battling this, which is a 12-year battle, but I'm going to put a bathing suit on every day on camera in front of the world.
Well, but I wasn't battling it
in.
anymore. That was the thing is
like
if
Nicole
you
said,
ask,
I'd be afraid of the trigger.
yeah,
I'd be so nervous.
yeah. I mean,
what if I
maybe
go
it was
back
like an alcoholic going and working at a,
at a
working
bar?
on Vanderpump. What's the show that?
Yes, all the Vanderpump Rules. Yes. Or
Things
any
like that.
bar.
I don't know. But no, it didn't trigger anything, which is great. It didn't at all. Because I have been abstinent, what they say is abstinent, meaning I haven't thrown up or binged. I was a huge binger too, binging and throwing up. And I haven't done it since then, I think it's 32 years now. So, but, one of the things, speaking about youth, I think one of the also things is that I learned that one of the reasons that I was battling this eating disorder, Nicole, do you remember when you had that eating disorder storyline?
For an episode? Yeah. I think it happened and was cured in one episode.
In 1 hour? You cured it in an hour, Nicole? That's amazing.
Tough.
She's amazing. You see how
you did good, Alexandra. Summer did it in a couple hours. One day. Yes, I do remember.
Oh, well, one of the things I learned through therapy, therapy helped me, but it was actually taking the actions of 12-step program that really got me to stop doing the behavior. I learned a lot about myself in therapy. And one of the things is that I wasn't authentic. I wasn't being an authentic. I always was trying to please people. And then I would come home and want to please myself. And I would do the easiest way possible, which is to eat a lot of food and then I'd feel bad and then I would throw it up. So this was my way of treating myself in a way and taking care of myself, because I wasn't really taking care of myself out in the world. And when I was so after being on Baywatch, I really did feel like I was authentic, and being authentic. During, when I was 28, 29, I felt like I was coming into myself more. So I felt strong and didn't feel like I loved doing that show, Nicole. I just loved Baywatch. I loved it so much that Yasmin would look at me and go, "Oh, will you just give Alexandra my rescues? Because she wants all the rescues." So I was very happy on that show too, and that helped.
Yeah. Yeah, the only reason I, took it on and then stayed for 2 seasons was because, the beach is like my life. It's my happy place. But I hadn't had a break in my life for so long, and I talk about it more in the documentary, and I had just come out of being sexually abused, and so I was not comfortable in my skin. Similar but different, right? And I was not comfortable with my sexuality whatsoever, because that had just got me into a shit ton of pain. And so I needed to get out of there. And sort of, and I know you can relate to this, different casting directors started calling. The good ones weren't opening the doors so much anymore, and we were being labeled bimbos and whatnot in the media. And it just scared the crap out of me. But I wish I should have stayed, because that is such a happy place. You're right. It was the best job in the world, being at the beach all day long, in and out of the water. But there was so many other things going on in my brain that I had to leave.
Yeah. We didn't have a lot of storylines together, and I'm sorry about that. I think it was because you were 20 and I was 28, and maybe I did a lot of stuff with Hasselhoff and Pamela, and you were with
because you guys were lifeguards and I was still in training.
Oh, you were a rookie.
I was a rookie in training to be, but
I actually was a lieutenant, and in my contract, I had it so that I didn't have to wear a bathing suit. My agent said, "You don't have to wear a bathing suit." But after the very first episode, when I appeared in this uniform, was white with epaulets and stuff and heels, I was like, "Hell no, I am not wearing this anymore." And so, boop, that went away, and on came the red suit, which didn't fit me very well because my body type was so different from everybody else. That thank goodness, after maybe the third season, I don't know, Nicole, was it this, because you and I started at the same time. Did you get a
3 and 4
ready-made, one that was made for your body type? The second?
No. No, I never got anything tailored, but those are the most unflattering out of the bag bathing suits. I mean, they're just,
especially for me, not at all good. But then I got a more flattering one and I think it was Yasmin who wanted, sort of asked for a crossback. And so then they were like, "Oh, people have different bodies. Maybe we should tailor it to different people." So I got one that fit my body type better. Yeah.
Oh, and the crossback is such a good idea, because the ones that go over the shoulder like this is always falling down. You're like, whoops. Yeah. Am I remembering this correctly or not? Did you drive a car that ran on peanut oil or something?
You're partly. I drove an electric car, and I got my first electric car in 1990 after the Exxon Valdez spilled. And the Exxon Valdez, for all you younger listeners, was a tanker truck. An oil tanker that was spilled in pristine Alaskan waters. And I was furious, being an environmentalist. It's like, Exxon, I'm going to boycott Exxon because it was the Exxon Valdez. And I was driving a Jimmy GMC, which is back then was a big car. It was an SUV. Now it'll look like a tiniest car ever, but it was an SUV. And I realized that the Exxon Valdez spilled because it was bringing gasoline to me. And so I should stop being such a darn hypocrite and get off my high horse. And so I got an electric car. And it was that, the one that I drove to the set, was it my first electric car? I think it was a red,
Yeah,
Volkswagen.
a red little car. Yes, I remember this. I don't
Yeah,
know where I
and
get the peanut oil from.
was
Maybe
like
that was
50
something that was
miles.
trending in the news. Yeah, there was, but I thought that, yeah.
Yes, I did. And I was able to plug it in. They let me plug it in at in the generator, because it was a car that didn't have a fancy charger or anything. The only way you could charge it was through a 110 volt, and it took about 24 hours to charge it in 50 miles. But yeah, so I drove that to the set.
That's amazing. Yeah, it was the first time it was like, oh, what? You're doing what? Yeah.
Yeah, and I'm still driving them. Now my car goes 270 miles per charge, so it's a big difference.
Yeah.
Let's talk about that for a second. What car do you drive, if you don't mind me asking?
Oh, no, not at all. A Chevy Bolt I drive.
Okay. Because I hear so many things, like a Tesla especially. I hear so many things about how bad the electric batteries are for the earth.
Well, yes. I mean, you know what? That's the thing. That's why population, the more people we have, just the more stuff we're going to use that hurts the earth, no matter how quote unquote green it is. Even solar panels take a lot of energy to make. So yes, there are 98%, from my understanding, 98% of the batteries are recyclable, but there are things that are not recyclable. And certainly all the metals, the rare earth metals that they talk about that are being mined for batteries are recyclable. So, and they are being recycled, because those things are expensive, and they're not gonna, car companies aren't just gonna waste them or anything. Yeah. But yes, everything we use takes up resources, even the quote unquote green things. So you're right. The great thing about electric cars, though, is that we get to fuel them ourselves by putting solar panels on our houses. Not everybody has their own home; they can do that, or can afford solar panels. Although they were very cheap at one time when the government was really trying to encourage the use of them, certainly in California. But you know, that's a wonderful thing. It's a great national security statement to drive an electric car, because I'm not at all dependent upon oil from countries where we might go to war in. So it's not only an environmental statement, but also national security and autonomy. We're not, I can get my fuel from the sun, and not from the corner gas station, which might be jacking up the prices.
Great point. That is a very, very solid point. I didn't really look at it that way. Yeah, yep.
EVs aren't just for those hippy dippy green people.
No, yeah, you're right.
Yeah. So
you're right.
Yeah.
Well, thank you so much for being our guest. Please tell people where they can hear your podcast.
It was I just want to say thank you so much for having me on the show, Nicole and Dave. Nicole, I just think you're amazing to be going through what you're going through and continuing on with, your jobs and things like that. And I just have so much admiration for you. So, and I'll be there supporting you all the way. My podcast is called Switch for Good, and it's Switch and the digit 4 good, and it's a healthy lifestyle podcast. I'm a vegan, so it's also about being plant-based. But we interview doctors and nutritionists and chefs and all sorts of people. So if you want to tune in, please do.
I'm definitely tuning in, because we can't commit to like vegan and vegetarian and all of that, but we do try to eat a lot of plant-based often.
Oh yeah. That's the thing. It's just add more plants in,
Yeah.
It's not about being 100% at all. It's like from an animal rights point of view, the more plants you eat, the less animals. And if it's one less animal, that's awesome.
Yeah.
But also just more plants. Yeah. And I know, Nicole, you're really working on being as healthy as you can to get through this.
I am. Yeah. It's been the one really positive thing about all of this, is it kicked me into gear about nutrition. And I always knew I always knew what the right thing to do was all the time, but was I doing it? So, yeah.
Two things, if you don't mind, real quick. Is one I got to tell you, Alexandra, my wife has gone vegan, plant-based since January. Just
Oh,
had a birthday a week ago, and I've known her for 35 years. She's never looked better than right now. I mean, honestly, the diet has completely, as far as the way she feels, the energy, it's been amazing. I haven't been able to follow because when I was sitting there and I watch her throw all this stuff in, and I'll say I'll do it with you one meal a day, but I can't do it. I just can't
listen,
eat that
one
many
meal.
greens all day long. I just can't eat that many greens. It's too many. And
Well,
then,
one meal is great. And remember that it's not just salad, it's
yeah.
beans, nuts, seeds,
Oh, I know.
fruits. It's got, in fact, as a vegan, your diet can actually get broader
Oh, yeah.
because we have so many more milks.
Oh, yeah.
There's like cow's milk and goat's milk, but no, if you're vegan, it's hemp and almond and soy and all that.
Yeah.
And so many. So that's wonderful that your wife is just an aside though. Not all vegans are healthy because Oreos are vegan. Lorna Doones
Oh,
are
yeah.
vegan. Believe me, I know all the
Yeah.
unhealthy
No,
foods
that's
that are
funny.
vegan.
That's funny.
So it's being whole food, plant-based that really will promote health.
I think literally she has garbanzo beans in every meal. I'm like, God dang, how
The
many
best.
garbanzo beans are we buying? The other question I have for you, just curious, just my own personal question is, I find myself over the last 8-10 years stressing out about the news. Like I'm a guy that loves to watch the news, and I love politics and everything else. Always have. It was my major in college, but then it has made my life not well rested, I should say. I feel stressed out about things I can't control. What I've done for myself in the last 5 years is I've decreased the amount of time I spend on politics and watching news shows. Obviously, for someone like you that wants to make the world a better place, do you find yourself watching a ton of TV or reading a ton on what's out there, and how concerned are you about what's coming up all the way up until November?
So I don't watch television. In fact, I don't even have a television. I have never owned a TV. I've owned a monitor where we would play DVDs and VHSs, but so my mom, however, and I live in Oregon now, taking care of my mom. She does have a television, so I see like the newscasters, and I see the hysteria in their voices, and I totally agree. It can make you so stressful. So I read the news. And I listen to NPR, which is more measured. And that really helps me not get too emotional and also partisan, frankly. It can really skew you to just one point of view. So reading the newspapers have helped me, I think, more and not get too involved. But yes, I am concerned about the planet and elections. And I used to register voters every week for 18 years. I registered voters on street corners in LA. But my feeling is like, everyone, please get out and vote, especially in the local elections, which are so important because those people go up and become our senators and representatives and presidents. So the local elections are the ones that affect us the most. So I encourage everybody to vote. So it's important to care. I do believe that I see such hysteria in the news, and my mom watches quite a bit of it that I sort of try not to
So does mine.
get involved. Your mom too? Yeah.
Oh, my mom thinks The View's going to call today and say, "Can you fill in for Joy?" Like she's ready to go at any minute.
I love it.
It's out of control.
Wow. That's amazing. Well, it sounds like you've got an amazing wife and an amazing mother, Dave.
Oh, thank you very much. Thank you.
So, well, thanks so much for having me on the show. You guys are
Yes,
great.
thank you. And again, alexandrapaul.com. And one more time with the podcast.
Switch for Good. And it's switch and the digit for good. And we're on every single platform and on YouTube. And you can also find us at switchforgood.org/podcast.
Love it.
Perfect.
I'm going to check it out. Everybody else should too. And I will see you soon because I'll see you on the 10th, I believe, right? Press starts to kick off for the documentary. And
I've been told, so I hope to see you. I know I'll see you for some stuff, but I haven't gotten the call to tell me where to be when, but I'll be
Yeah,
there.
I think it's the 10th. I think, we'll hear more soon. I know they're shooting today.
Oh,
There's,
wow.
there's a lot. It's a lot. It's a lot. And we have to rename it.
Congratulations, Nicole.
Thank you. We have to rename it. The American Dream didn't get cleared by legal. So, I mean, I fell
Why?
asleep last night. My names for it started getting so dirty and so like filthy
It was
and
the lack of the
perverty.
pills, it was not taking that pill.
It's just all the good ones because it's such a fine line of being cheesy or not, with like the Baywatch. And I had good ones, good one, good one. And then I turned a corner. Yeah, and it got dark and dirty. I had to turn the TV on so I could go to sleep. Oh God, but
Oh
yeah.
my God.
So I
So
would
did
see
you
you
come up
soon.
with a new title?
We haven't yet. We're listing. If you have any ideas, email them to me, and we're going to run them through legal and see what gets approved. It's a very,
Awesome.
it's a lot of hoops to jump through.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's too bad you can't just say the Baywatch, right? You can't use the term Baywatch.
We can use Baywatch. Yes, we can
Okay.
use Baywatch. But yeah, we're just throwing ideas out there and seeing which get approved and then pick the least cheesiest one. I think that's how it's going. But if you do think of any, shoot me over an email.
I will for sure. All right.
Okay. All
Okay,
right.
y'all.
All right. Thanks so
Take care.
much.
Bye.
Bye bye. That was cool. That was cool. Very nice. She is, as I said, she's done so much before she even joined the show that, though I admire people. I think through maturity, as you spoke about a lot on where you are in your 20s, and as you get older, Nicole, and you talk about how the youth, they have no idea what's coming and how fast things change. But it seems like from day one, she was one of those people that wanted to make a difference in the world.
Yeah,
Like
it's like
all,
she was born like an empath and like
yeah.
yes, yeah. But that's that's not common. That's not like
No,
that's not a super common thing.
No, I admire it. One of the things that
Yeah.
stood out to me a couple years ago, do you remember when Elon Musk and he bought Twitter, and they were saying for the amount of money that he spent on Twitter, he literally could have solved world hunger.
Yeah.
And you could have been remembered as that guy. Like you would have been a guy that they put statues all over the world for you, but instead you're the
But
guy
no,
that
his ego.
yeah.
I mean, insane and yeah, ridiculous, right? And look at what he's done to Twitter. It's like
It's
non-existent.
wild.
Yeah,
No.
not many people are on there anymore.
No,
It's
that's
X. Yeah, X Twitter.
Hey, before we get to your mailbag, did you watch Housewives of New Jersey this week?
Yes, I did. Grown women putting their hands on another grown woman.
What did you think?
I thought that was gross. I think Jen has some anger management
Yes.
to be done. And can we talk about that I had Jackie, like is she just like kissing Teresa's ass because her book is coming out and then it's all gonna go blow up in her face? Because she's tripping me out. I used to think of her as kind of a voice of reason and very different than the rest of the women, but calling Dolores a slob, and I hate her. She was an effing slob. What are you saying? And putting it in writing, like,
yeah,
I thought she was smart.
no, she's not. She's obviously not. It's interesting. We spoke about this about a week ago, to saying how there's so many big personalities on that show, and as far as we talk, as I used the phrase "Queen Bee" during the talk with Alexandra, but Teresa is the queen bee of the show. As dumb as I think she might be as a human being, she controls the show. Andy has kind of made it clear she controls the show. When she went to prison, they didn't tape while she was in prison. They waited till she was out of prison. But I think Jackie literally said, "I'm just going to align myself with her because it's the safest route." She doesn't seem to like controversy. She doesn't like being, basically a target. She made herself a target, but as you said, putting it in writing. And she has played almost every aspect of her life on this show very poorly.
But then I think also she has a book coming out that kind of she talks some smack about everybody in the book. including Teresa. So I'm super thrown by her behavior. And then, yeah, and to your point of Teresa, it's like if anybody wanted to know who's the problem between Melissa and Teresa, let's look at the common denominator here. It's
Yes.
always Teresa. She
Always.
does it. She causes a problem with everybody, and it's what keeps the show going.
Exactly.
So
She does.
yes,
Andy knows it. I mean, Andy
yes,
knows it too, right? We all know it.
yes,
If
yeah. And
Teresa
I mean,
wasn't there,
listen,
we'd be like, who do we hate now?
yeah, is dumb as I think some of her comments are, and I know that I can see right through her that she's doing this for ratings, everything like that. There is a respect factor that comes along with it, that she keeps this. She's the balls, the energy, and the know-how to keep this going. So,
See, I would love someone asked you this question a couple weeks ago in your mailbag. Would you ever do a show like this? I would love to see you on one of these shows.
I
I
would
think
just
you're
be in the
smart
corner
enough
like,
that I think you would. No, I don't think you would. I think you'd run the room and go bullshit, and you'd be calling people out. There's no way you're going to sit in the corner and not say a word.
but the thing is, in my life where I'm at right now, especially after my diagnosis,
Yeah.
I have the smallest list of people I want to spend my time with. If it wasn't small before, it is shrunk.
Yeah.
No, I don't know. Maybe for a show purpose, maybe you're right, because I could be fun and it's a job at the end of the day,
But I
which
think
I
you'd be
need.
great
I
at it.
need a job.
Yeah. I think you'd be
Uh,
great at it.
that'd be
Yeah.
funny.
Honestly, because I just think you would be in a no bullshit zone. You would just go, that's not the way it is. What's wrong with you? And I don't think you're off balance. I think a lot of times you watch these girls and go, there's another motive here, like Garcelle on Beverly Hills Housewives, because she has a whole different motive from what's actually going on the show. Whereas I think you just call bullshit on people when you know right away this is garbage.
Yeah.
Almost like as they say, the people have F you money, I don't want to do it, so F you. You almost are in a situation. There's nothing to. I don't need to play the game. I've been through too much. Personally, professionally, I've been through too much. I don't need to play the game. I'll just tell you how it is. I think it would be interesting as hell seeing you on one of those shows. I've been thinking about it since we saw that question in the mailbag. I go, she could do this. She could do this. It'd be great.
Yeah. You'll probably be either really great at it or really horrible at it. It would just have to depend. But yeah. No, food for thought there.
Yeah. Anyway, I hope Andy's listening. I'd like to at least see you turn it down. What could you do? All right, we got your mailbag for you. Nicole's mailbag again. Go to perfectlytwistedpod.com. Look for the little mailbag up there and get your questions in. We have 5 of them here from Amanda Smith. Okay. It says, Nicole, horror movie question. Which do you prefer, Jason or Michael Myers?
I was a Jason.
Really?
A Jason fan. Yeah. Yes, Friday the 13th was that's Jason, right? Yeah, Friday the 13th.
Yes, it is. You got it. You got it.
Yeah, that's kind of like I don't know if it's the timing that they came out or whatever, but we'd have sleepovers and we'd watch those movies, the big VHS, and we would see them right when they came out. So, yep, a Jason fan.
Go. Oh my God. Seeing Halloween when I was in, I think, 2nd grade, fourth, I don't know when the hell I saw it. 2nd grade, I was so scared. I don't think I slept for a week after seeing the original Halloween with Jamie Lee Curtis, and she's a teenager, and I was like, oh my God, it was awful. I realized at that moment I do not like being scared. Like I'm done with it. After when I watch them now even now as a grown adult, I have to put mute just to watch the scary scenes. I can't handle the music. I'm soft that way. Yeah, I'm not good with horror movies. Nicole, are you a fan of any sports teams that aren't in California?
Nope.
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 Nope. Yeah, there you go. That's fine.
I don't think so.
Yeah,
no.
Neither am I. Outside of Alabama football, neither am I. Nicole, did you watch? Here's another sports question. Nicole, did you watch the roast of Tom Brady? And if so, what did you think?
I did watch it. First of all, I think they're so smart the way they're doing the roast now. Netflix, way to go. Kudos to Netflix. I thought that's a great way for them to not only generate money, but to have an actual audience where you can get some like genuine laughs and see, you have fans of these comedians coming
Yep.
on. I thought I thought it was great. I thought it was one of the better roasts I've seen.
I agree
And
with you.
Kevin Hart can do no wrong. I mean, Kevin Hart just cracks me up. I am so tired after watching him. I'm like, and he walks around like that all day,
Yeah.
every day. Like, give me some of that energy. I thought he was a fantastic host. The one lady, and her name is
Nikki
escaping
Glazer.
me. Nikki killed
She was the best
it.
one.
She was on fire. And I just, I thought it was fantastic.
I do too. I'm glad you said that. I do too.
Yeah.
I had to turn my head away from the TV about 10 times. Like, I know it doesn't matter if I'm looking or not looking, but I was so
So embarrassed.
I couldn't take it. I just turned my head away. But that shows you it was good. It was
There were
really
some things
uncomfortable.
I didn't quite get because I didn't know some
Of
of the
course.
the sports, but for the
Yeah.
most part, it was hilarious.
Yeah. Oh my gosh. Yeah. It
Some of
was.
those athletes sitting in the on the stage are sitting there, it's like there's nothing going on up there. I just had
No.
to.
If I watched it with you, I could tell you which ones are supposed to be the smart ones, which ones are not so
Yeah,
smart ones.
I'd love for you to point them out, and if the looks on their face match their intelligence, I was sitting there like, are they here? Are
Well,
they
the
listening?
guy, now that you watched it, the big story in the last week was Bill Belichick, who's Tom Brady's former coach,
Yeah.
is dating a 24-year-old.
Oh.
And so he's 73, she's 24. And no joke, the question was, how did you two meet? He said, I helped her with her homework when we were on an airplane. And I was like, that's the craziest thing to me.
Whoa. Okay.
Well, that is nuts to me. But anyway, then I start thinking, who's more embarrassed when he brings her home to his kids, or she brings him home to her parents, who he's older than her parents?
Okay, I can't
You
comment.
can't.
I can't say anything because that's judgy, and maybe they found true soulmate love.
Sure.
Maybe it's the grandpa she never had. I don't know. I'm not touching it. I'm not touching it.
All right. Just question. You tell me if I'm crazy. I don't know anyone that's ever gone to a therapist and said, I never met my grandfather. I'm looking for the grandpa I never had. It's not
I don't know.
grandfather. Yeah. What the hell's wrong with you? Holy cow. Anyway, that story blew me away. But anyway, it says, Nicole, when you were on What Not to Wear, did they really throw away all your clothes, or did you get them back?
Oh, that shows such a setup. No, you pull out like the worst things you own and you dress super frumpy for it. They give it back to you. Not that you even care because it's like the junkiest stuff you have in your closet. Kind of like, just get rid of it. But it was all in all, it was a fun experience. Like production is really nice on that show. It was fun. But there's a lot of shopping involved, a lot of wardrobe fittings, which I'm somebody that I go into a store, I buy what I think I might like, I take it home and I return because I have to do it in sections. I can't do it all at the same time. So it was a little bit rough, but it was fun, and it was in New York, and I got to see my daughter, and
Cool. Yeah.
Yeah.
There you go. All right, final question from Amanda Smith. Nicole, will you ever do any more Lifetime movies? The ones you did many years ago are still some of my favorites.
Yes, I would love to. I would love to. Let's at them. Let's at Lifetime and ask yes, why not? I can and I can wear a wig if this hair doesn't grow back quick enough. I have some coming. It's coming
that's
in,
coming.
but
Yeah.
it's coming. But yes, I would absolutely love to. I think it's a great home for me. And I just need to figure out how to get them to feel the same way.
Yeah, that's what's important, right?
Yeah. Uh-huh.
That's right. All right, we'll add them. People, write to Lifetime, please. Let's bring
Yes.
Nicole back in these Hallmark movies.
Yeah.
That's what they run into my house nonstop from the second they start till whatever they end
Well,
after
it's
Valentine's
Lifetime.
Day.
It's Lifetime. I can do Hallmark
Yeah.
too, but she
Oh,
said
okay.
my shit about Lifetime.
Lifetime. Yeah,
And
you're
what's
right.
funny
She
is
said
the
Lifetime.
one of the Christmas movies I did for Lifetime, it was their like #1 rated show.
Yeah.
People watch it every year and write to me about it. So yeah. I don't know.
Let's
I don't
do
know.
it.
Who do I call Lifetime? Lifetime, if you're
Yeah.
listening. I need a lifeline.
There you go. That was fun. That was a fast show. That was a lot of fun.
Yes.
Yep.
Yes.
There we
Lots
go.
of fun. And we have another great guest next week too. And we'll see you then.
All right. Have a great week. Make sure you take that medicine.
Yeah.
Write it
Is
on
it
your
starting
hand.
to show? Is it starting to show?
No, it's not showing at all.
Okay.
That's what that was funny when you, and in tongue in cheek. It's funny now because there was no damage, but when you were trying to figure out a new name for the Baywatch documentary, it's like, well, one of the three of you are going to come up with something good, so you're going to be fine.
I'm gonna come up with
You'll be all
something.
right.
Maybe that's why my mind got so dirty last night. But you know what? Also, kind of the rebel in me was like, well, if I did, let's see how today goes. If I didn't take it, and then it's less medicine I'm putting in my body. But
Don't take a chance.
yeah, I
Yeah,
guess not.
don't take a chance. And just be safe.
Yeah,
Let's be safe.
let's be
All
safe.
right, we'll see you next week then.
Okay,
Right.
see ya.
All right, take care.
Bye.